Hello, everyone. Welcome to Arcade Europe. I just wanted to do this live video with you all, just to talk about some of the things that could be stopping you from living abroad. I know that so many people want to have this experience abroad, to live in a different country, to learn a new culture, a new language. But when it comes to actually going, they freak out. Like they don't go, they don't do it. And most they I mean it's natural to look for excuses, right? So it's normal to sometimes say, well, I don't have the money to do it, or maybe because I don't speak the other language, or there are different reasons, right? People can, you know, they can find excuses not to do certain things. And this could be, for everything in life, for getting up early or for going to work early or anything. But I think what you have to remember is that once you go abroad, you probably will never be the same again. And I can assure you that, because if you go to live somewhere else where people speak especially a different language for at least 6 months to a year, you will challenge everything that you know. Beliefs sometimes, depending where you're going, if it's like a different religion, it will challenge the way you think, because sometimes in your country a certain object has a feminine, it's like a noun is a feminine noun, and then in the other countries a masculine noun, and then you trying to always remember that in your head when you speak in the other language. And when you learn another language, it's also humbling, right? Because you don't speak it as a native yet. So maybe some people will laugh at you, they will make jokes about your accent and all sorts of things. You might get things wrong. You might say one thing and they might understand another thing. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong, let's say. But if you really hold on to that and you actually push forward and let that stage go, the next stages are incredible. Like this feeling of now knowing that you are able to do something that before you thought was impossible, right? I remember when I was in Minas Gerais, the state of Minas Gerais in Brazil. I lived in a very small farm, village, and I think we had around 1,500 people. And one of my dreams was to live abroad. But at that time, I didn't have the money. I didn't know anything. I didn't have internet. Barely had TV there. So it was actually kind of impossible to do such a thing, right? It was really much for me impossible. But turns out I managed to do it. And if I managed to do it, I think anybody can. I left Brazil in 2005 when I was around 20 years old. Didn't speak a word of English, and then I went to the UK, and I lived in the UK for around 5.5 years. It was tough in the beginning, but I was determined to learn the language, to learn a new culture. And I remember going to a Brazilian church on Sundays, and the church services in Brazil are normally on Sunday evening, and the English services are always in Sunday morning. So I was doing that. I was going to a church on Sunday mornings to learn English as well, to have this contact, because for me that was the only way I could have contact with locals apart from work. Because I didn't go to pubs, I didn't go to nightclubs or things like that. So church was the cool way for me to get to know people locally. And then on the evening, I would go to a church service which I actually am able to understand, which was the Portuguese, the Brazilian one. I lived in Stamford Hill at the time. This Jewish neighborhood was kind of interesting for me as well, because it was a cultural shock in every sense of the word. I'm surrounded by Jews. I'm going to a Christian church, working in a place everybody speaks English. Then I'm going to work with the French, and then I started learning English at work as well when the French is speaking, and then I started to speak in a French accent as well. So it's kind of like strange. But I think you always have to, if that is your dream, I think there's no reason to be afraid. There's many ways to live abroad these days that doesn't require fortune, right? You can look for places where they do this, like they have this like community things where you live in this community, and everybody works in the farm around the community. They work in the hotel of the community where they get the money, and then that money is kind of shared and pay all the expenses of the community. It's like a kibbutz in Israel. They have the kibbutz, right? So they have the kibbutz. I think the idea happens in many places. I heard about Portugal. I heard about in France as well. Some like Catholic places have things like this, like the self-sustaining communities. And so I got Leo saying here, do you think moving and live in another country? Well, Leo, I actually am from Brazil, so I'm already living in another country. I live in Poland at the moment, so and I'm actually moving to Sweden next month. Yeah, so I've been living abroad for 13 years. I was born and raised in Brazil, and I lived 5 years and a half in England. Now it's almost 7 years in Poland, and I'm moving to Sweden. So I think it's a really good thing to live abroad. And of course, there's a ways. For example, as a Brazilian, you can stay up to 6 months, sorry, to 3 months in Europe, right? So you can come and stay 90 days. So you could go and stay in the country 90 days, live, and then after 3 months you can come back in again. You can look also for student visas in places where they actually you can apply for a student visa. You can also look for work, right? And you can live in different places. Don't think that, oh, I don't have any skill, that's it, right? So just, we have internet these days. There's so many things that you can learn on YouTube. You can learn English, you can learn French, you can learn Spanish, you can learn anything. You can learn to cook. I'm actually following a lot of recipes lately and posting on Facebook the things I do from videos I learn on YouTube. So there's so much to learn and so much to do that it's almost impossible these days to actually say, well, I cannot really follow my dreams of living abroad because of X, Y, and Z. So I think there's a lot that we can do these days. So yeah, so just analyze yourself, right? See what is really the reason you are creating in your head to stop you from living this dream, and then you can try to argue with it and try to see if it's really true or not. Because maybe you have, I don't know, a mother or a father that really depends on you and your country, and you cannot move abroad. So I totally understand that. Um, but if it's something that can be done in a way that you can actually pay someone to take care of them in your culture, if that's acceptable, of course, and then you can go to another country and then come back again, that's fine, because then you'll not be leaving them alone, but you'll still be helping them, financially and so on, and they will still be cared for. Or you can take them with you as well. Depends. Some countries are allowed to bring family. I know that I think Poland and Sweden as well. From what I know, if your father and mother are financially dependent on you, then you can also get the visa for them to come with you. So there's a lot of things that can be done, right? So you don't have to just kill your dreams just because of some small details. And I think there are interesting places to go these days actually. For example, China. Imagine if you go to China and you learn Chinese and then you come back to the West speaking Chinese. I'm sure that will open so many doors, right? Working in different areas. My goodness, like the amount of tourists coming from China, the amount of businesses are coming from China, and if you can speak Chinese, so that will be incredible as well. Again, English is like everybody has to somehow speak English because it's kind of expected in most of the world. But if you speak like a second, third, or fourth language, that's really, really good in many areas. I think it's even more important than actually having a university degree these days, depending on what you're going to do, right? So especially in IT, for example, and in business as well. If you speak a second or third language, that's incredible. Opens so many doors. At least has opened for me, right? So if you guys have any questions, feel free to make a comment now. I'll try to answer as much as I can. See, there's some people here online with us. Okay. Okay, so maybe there's some problem. I don't see any comments coming up. Last time there was a problem as well. I don't know what happened. I couldn't see comments, but okay. So guys, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment below. Let me know what you think. Maybe you can write some reasons as well that you think that is blocking you from living abroad. If you want to talk to me, feel free to leave the comments there. Also the email, you can go on our website www.rkpolonia.com and you can contact me over there as well. Also on the Facebook page as well, RK Polonia. You can send message there. Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram, Rainer Max. So guys, have a great evening, and I hope you can live your dreams without any barriers, especially psychological barriers and surreal things that might not be actually a real barrier. That could be the worst thing. Anyway, take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Oh, I see a message here from Leo. Leo says, "What's the biggest challenge to live in Poland?" Well, Leo, the biggest challenge for me today to live in Poland, I think, is that Poland became the very desirable place for immigrants in Europe and abroad as well. But I guess in Europe we have Germans, Italian, pretty much every nationality here. And actually, Poland was in this. There was some stats, and Poland was in the second place of the biggest amount of residence cards issued in the European Union. So first was the UK, and then second was Poland. So you can imagine that Poland was not ready for this kind of like amount of work, with amount of processing documentation, processing people, right? To give them visas, and it's very complex because every case has to be analyzed individually, and it's not so easy. And then in 2015, to make things worse, you had Russia having those problems with East Ukraine and East Ukraine and Crimea invasion. So then many Ukrainians came to Poland, and we have around Ele, tudo bem? Não tem problema não. We have around 3 million Ukrainians in Poland, between 2 and 3. And this in a country that is around 33 million people, it's like 10% of the population. So you can actually see the impact that had on the processing times of residence cards and work permits for people here. So for me, that's the biggest challenge. And the reason why I say this is because, hello Augusto, and the reason why I say this, is basically because once you apply, you cannot leave the country because your residence card is already expired, the plastic one. There is nothing on your passport because in Poland they don't give you a sticker with the residence card or whatever. They give you a card. So basically, you are like internally, yes, you have a stamp in your passport saying that you're waiting for the residence card. But outside, let's say you want to go to Germany or Czech Republic or something, and if you get stopped, then for them, you are illegally in Europe, right? So that's a problem. Plus, you cannot, if you leave the European Union, you cannot come back in because you have no visa for Poland, right? So it becomes like a bureaucratic prison in a way, right? And then that is the issue that I would say, Leo. I have here breaking the numbers. Where are you going to live in Sweden? I'm actually going to the capital. So I'm going to Stockholm to live in Stockholm. Thanks for the question. So Leo says, after Brexit, do we have more chance to live in United Kingdom? It depends, right? Because I think most of the Europeans that were there, they are allowed to stay there as long as they applied for a local residence card or citizenship or something, or permanent residence, right? But I guess it will definitely decrease the amount of people going from Europe now. So maybe there will be people that will be like, okay, I don't want to live in England anymore, and then they come back to Poland or to the country they came from. I heard that there's going to be a lot of people from Poland coming back. And if they do, maybe there will be a shortage of people in certain areas, and maybe that could open doors for people outside the European Union to work there. Yeah, so that was the question from Leo. Le Planet is saying, are you going to continue to do your work and help people to come to work in Poland? Sim, Le, eu vou continuar fazendo os vídeos no RK Polônia, porque tem muita coisa que eu aprendi nos últimos 7 anos aí, e coisas que eu vou aprender na Suécia que eu vou conseguir comparar com a Polônia. Então eu vou continuar fazendo os vídeos sim. e vou continuar atendendo as pessoas lá pela consultoria, quando elas quiserem falar comigo, marcar uma hora. E então tem como marcar pelo meu site lá no rkpolônia.com. Eu vou continuar assim, até o momento que der, que o que eu sei ainda for válido, né? Chega um ponto que vai mudar tanto que nem vale mais a pena. Mas acho que daqui a um ano ainda, acho que dá para falar muita coisa. Moisés Gomes, thanks Moses. And Leo says that he lives in Brazil and he don't have paperwork. That's fine. I think you can always apply. And Leo is asking everyone to give a like. So yeah, so if you like this live stream, please give a thumbs up and leave a comment and share if your network, and share it. Breaking the Numbers is asking if I have a job already, and I say yes, I have a job already over there. That's why I'm moving over to Sweden. And the processing times of work permit in Sweden and Poland is so different. My goodness, in Poland it's taking 3 months, sometimes more, and the residence permit is taking like a year to 3 years. And in Sweden, if you're going to work, you have only one thing. You don't have to apply for a second residence permit. You get a work permit, and then suddenly you can also live in that country, which makes sense. If you have a work permit, why should you apply for a residence permit, right? It doesn't make any sense in Poland to have this division, right? The company applies for the work permit for you, and then you have to apply for the residence permit for yourself based on that job. It's really strange for me, but in Sweden they do it in 10 days, 10 working days. It's crazy. Here we have Marcos Vinicius. Hey Marcos, how you doing, man? Cześć Marcos, jak tam? Wszystko dobrze? Tutaj wszystko jest w porządku. Dzięki Bogu. Yeah, guys, feel free to ask me questions. I'll stay here to clarify anything. Yeah, I think the thing that most gives troubles living abroad is the fact that we need to ask for residence permits and all this bureaucratic stuff, and every 2 years, every 1 to 2 to 3 years. And in Poland, it was possible to request the permanent residency up to 2018 without having a Polish B1 level certificate of Polish language. And unfortunately, the law changed, and now we have to have this Polish B1 certificate. And that is really, really difficult to get, because you have to speak Polish quite well and understand the grammar to be able to apply for that. So I speak Polish, I understand. I'm not like perfect. I do a lot of mistakes in grammar, a lot of mistakes. And I tried. I've been here for almost 7 years, and I tried and I failed. So I know people that have been here for a long time and they don't study Polish, so it'll be impossible for people like that to pass the exam. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit sick. In Sweden it's 10 days, yes, it's 10 days for that. Plus, in Poland, for example, when you apply for this residence card, we have to wait for the decision letter, and when we receive the decision letter, then we apply for the plastic card, right? And it's now taking 3 months, 2 to 4 months, that's what I heard. It used to be, in 2013, 13 days. Then, in Sweden, the moment you apply for your card, for your residence or for your work permit, which is work permit, sorry, the entire family, if you're applying for, like my wife and my son, they can also work. My son is too small, but it's a child, but my wife can work anywhere based on my work permit, which in Poland is not possible. She needs also to have a work permit for another company to work. Plus, if I applied, which happened to me, my company applied for me the Friday before, like the one Friday before, not this one now, but the one before they applied. And then on the following week, I went to Berlin, to the Swedish embassy, and I already applied for the residence card. And next Friday, the work permit will be ready. And then on the following Friday, in 2 weeks' time, the card will be ready. So there's no way to compare. And that's why I'm going to Sweden, because I love Poland. Everybody that knows me know that I love Poland. I love living in Poland. But the only reason I'm leaving Poland is because the processing times of visa taking too long and is blocking us to be able to move, to be able to travel and see our family in Brazil, right? So that's the answer for you, Le. Breaking the numbers. Are you excited to move? At the beginning, no. At the beginning, no. I was a bit sad, to be honest, to leave Poland. Very sad, actually. Because my goal was to come to Poland, get a permanent residence in Poland, and become Polish citizen. That's my goal. That was my goal since the beginning. I didn't plan to come to Poland and then go somewhere else. I know foreigners that came here and then, right, they said, okay, I came to Poland, but my goal was to go to Holland or to Germany. This is my entrance to Europe or something. I didn't plan like this. I came and I said, I'm going to stay here. I like this country. I'm going to stay here, become a Polish citizen and stay here. Maybe as Polish citizen, when I say this is my home, if something good happens to appear outside, I would go. But that was not my plan. But I said to myself, I would go and come back. And if I went, I would not be sending money to Brazil. I would be sending money to Poland to build my house here, to build things here, to come back here. So now I'm going to Sweden. So I'm still thinking if I become Swedish in 5 years, then I could come back to Poland. So maybe I will start saving money up there to buy an apartment here, for example. So Le is saying, I'm waiting 2 years and 4 months. Yes, I understand that. My son is also waiting 2 years and 1 month. Yeah, 1 month. 2 years and 1 month. And during that time, it's very risky to travel. We spoke to the Swedish embassy and we told the situation that my son has no residence card in Poland, is still waiting, and we needed to go to Berlin. So the good thing is that we contacted the border patrol in Poland and we sent them an official letter asking them when could my son leave and come back. And they said that because Brazil has this agreement with the European Union, every 3 months, 6 months, sorry, this can be changed. So if you're waiting for a residence card, let's say the first 3 months, you are on this tourist visa. After 3 months, you are not. And then after the next 3 months, you are allowed, in a way, it kind of like goes back to your tourist visa again, and so on and so forth. So they said, then they wrote a letter. So I took this letter with me to Germany. In case I got stopped by the police, I could say, hey, the Polish immigration is saying that we can leave and come back. But they also said in the letter that all the countries in Europe could maybe not accept that. There was that risk. So because I knew that I was going to, the Polish embassy in Brazil already said no to us via email. They said, no, you have to wait in Poland. So that Brazil was out of the question then. Because my dream was to be able to go with him to Brazil and then come back to Poland. So then we said to the Swedish embassy, okay, we'll take this risk. We'll go there, give the biometrics to start the card process, and then we come back. And that's what we did. That's what we did. Yeah, exactly. It's really amazing. No stress anymore. And they give us directly for 2 years for everyone. And the good thing for us now is that me, my wife, and my son, we have the same type of visa for the same length of time, right? So when it expires, expire for all of us. And then we renew. And for renewal, it takes 20 days to renew. 20 days. So I cannot stay in Poland because over there I'll have my freedom back. For the last 3 years, I haven't been able to travel with my family, only myself, when I had the visa, right? But I had the visa for the last 2 years only. So imagine if I stay in Poland now, my wife's residence card is expiring next month, so she'll have to reapply. When she reapplies, it will take a year and a half to get it. When her residence card is issued and given to her, mine expires next year in June, so mine will be expiring. So that means my wife will have it and I won't have it. So she can fly out and I cannot. So that is the problem right now. My wife and my visa are out of sync. So we for the last 3 years we haven't been able to travel outside of Poland together. So it sucks. It's really bad. Um, Breaking the numbers is saying, how long would it take to become a Polish citizen? Well, become a Polish citizen, you have to stay, if you're not married to a Polish citizen, you have to stay here for 5 years working without any long breaks. Then, after this 5 years, you have to get this permanent residence card. And once you have it, you have to stay 3 years with the permanent residence card. And after 3 years, then you can apply for the citizenship. So in the paper is 8 years, but it's not 8 years. It's much more. Because every time you apply, it takes longer to issue it. It's not a problem. But the problem is when it's the 5th year you apply for the residence card, is the permanent one, that is when the problem starts. Because your citizenship counts, you should have 3 years of the permanent one. So if it takes 1 year and a half to give you the permanent one, you lost 1 year and a half, right? That's what happened to me already. You lost 1 year and a half. And then when you get the permanent residence card, you have to wait for 3 years to then apply for the citizenship. Plus, to apply for the residence card, permanent residence card, you need to speak Polish B1 level. That is very hard. Anybody that lives in Poland knows that. You can ask anyone, they'll tell you. Second, when you apply for the citizenship, I heard that some states ask for a test, again, of the Polish language and a test of the culture and history of the country. So you have to pass as well. If you don't pass, then you don't get. There is another way to request citizenship. This another way is based in nothing like this. It's a request direct to the president of the country. It's a free request. You fill out a form. You can ask a lawyer for help as well, which I'm doing. And then you send that request. You can ask reference letters from Polish people that you know, saying, okay, this is a good person, they are nice, they're helping the community, and so on and so forth. Send it to the president, and then the president can either give it or not. I'm going to try before I leave Poland. I'm going to send a request. If they give me Polish citizenship, then maybe in 2 years, I don't know, maybe I can come back. Maybe in 4 years, I don't know. It depends how it's going to be in Sweden. I don't know how it's going to be there. But if I like in Sweden, maybe I'll stay. If I don't, maybe after 2 years, when I finish my loyalty agreement with the new job, then maybe I can come back. I still don't know what I'm going to do in terms of that. But I'm excited about this new opportunity, and I'll go with full heart over there. And I go again to Sweden, and I'll plan to stay there for at least the next 5 years until I become a Swedish citizen, and then I can maybe come back. It all depends how it's going to be life there. So that was a question of breaking the numbers. Leo MS asks, why Sweden? Well, I was trying Holland, because I know Holland doesn't require Dutch for foreigners to work there. So I always tried Holland, right? But sadly, never happened. Actually, once I almost worked for KPMG in Holland, almost. But I was like, for 100 candidates, I was the last two with another guy. I was part of the last two guys, and then they went for the other guy because they said I was too experienced. I hate when it happens. At least I like when they tell me, okay, you're not good enough for us. I'm sorry. But when they say, oh, you have too much experience, you're going to be bored of this job. I was like, that's what I want. I'm moving to a new country. I don't want to have a complex job. I want to have an easy job. Please give me the job. But they said no. So it's okay, whatever, doesn't matter. So that's. I mean, I applied for 1,280 jobs since 2018. When it was already a year that my son was waiting for his residence card, then I decided to apply. And then I applied and applied and applied, and it turns out that until this year, I applied for 1,280 jobs. I mean, I applied until last year. I didn't apply this year. And then I think it was like December last year, then I got the job. It was like so fast. When I told the client, I'm leaving Poland, I'm going home because I can't take this anymore. I need to go to Brazil and see my family, and then I'll come back to Europe again afterwards. So I need to have a little break just to see my family, because it's been 7 years I'm in Poland without seeing my family. The first 3 years was my fault because I arrived in Poland. I wanted to stay here, so the first 2 years I didn't have money to go back. On the third year I had money to go back, but I then said to myself, I'm going to go back to Brazil. I didn't even get to know Europe yet. So then I used my holidays to get to know Europe. I went around and I had an amazing road trip. I went all the way from Berlin to Croatia by car with another couple that we know. It was incredible. And then on the fourth year, we were going to go, but then I got another job here in Wrocław. So then I had to move. So then we couldn't go. And then also the holiday got messed up because I moved in the middle of the year. So I couldn't take a full holiday and then full holiday afterwards. So we waited for the fifth year. Then my wife, and we decided to have a child. So my wife was pregnant. And then it became more complicated. But for the last 2 years, we haven't been to Brazil because of this waiting times. Lei said that she's waiting for 2 years and 4 months. That's really tough. Yeah, it's no more stress. So Moises Gomes is saying, does Sweden have a stronger currency compared to Poland? No. The currency in Sweden is 2.5 times weaker than the Polish currency. So if you have 100 zlotys, which means gold, like golden, this is what the zloty means, golden or gold, then you have 250 Swedish kroners, or crowns, Swedish crowns in English, right? Kroner, they call it. But the salaries there are the same level of the European salaries. So people on average earn between 2.5 to 5,000 euros a month, right? After tax. And in Poland, that's not the case. If you have a 2,000 salary to free here, it's really, really, really high salary in Poland. But yes, there are people that earn 4,000 in Poland, 3,000, I know. And it's possible, but not after tax. It's almost impossible after tax. Then I have Lei saying something. I didn't understand, Lei, what you said. The visa in Poland, on the theory, is not a practice. Ah, okay, yeah, because I said that thing about the 8 years, right? Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Guys, just give me 1 second. I need to open the window. It's so hot in here. The winter didn't come to Poland this year, so let me just open the window. Just a second. So yeah, so if you guys want to have a one-on-one conversation with me, just go to my website, arcadepolonia.com, and book a time or talk to me there. I have to go because it's 11 o'clock in the evening here, 11:04, and I was being interviewed by a Brazilian YouTuber an hour before. So we spoke for an hour, then we've been speaking for 33 minutes, so hour and a half. So I'm getting tired now. But thank you so much for staying here with me. I really appreciate your time. Feel free to share this video if you like it. Comment as well. I think the comments that you do now might not stay, but after the live, if you have any other questions that come to mind, feel free to ask me. I have lived in Europe now for 13 years. I lived in the UK, Poland, and now going to Sweden. And I'm originally from Brazil. So if you have questions about Brazil as well, if you're planning to go for holiday in Brazil or something, you want to ask something, also reach me here. You can go to the Facebook page as well, Arcade Polonia. You can go to the email as well. We have rkpolonia.contato@gmail.com. So I'm going to just make this email here, rkpolonia.contato. I just made a comment there, and the website, I'm typing here. You can book a time with me as well there. Guys, so thanks so much for your time. Your time is very valuable, and I appreciate that you spend your time with me here. And I hope this video was cool, and I thank so much for all the questions. They help a lot. And turn on the notifications, guys, so next time I come live, you can join me and we can have a blast together. Okay? Awesome. Have a great evening and have a great week, guys. Great week for you, everyone. Loads of health. Success. Bye bye. See ya.